Hey everyone. I haven't done a video yet this week. I've been wanting to sort of have a think as to what direction I've been wanting to take the videos and things in. I didn't just want to spout random information. Wanted it to have a bit of a purpose. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today was having ADHD and the filter. What do I mean by a filter? You know that voice that you've got in your head that kind of says, I probably shouldn't say this, or I probably shouldn't do that. That voice that kind of goes, no, I probably shouldn't call the boss a wanker. It's going to have consequences. This is something that comes naturally to neurotypical people. And one of the particular challenges that people face with ADHD is impulsivity. In fact, it's one of the hardest traits of ADHD. Even adults with the condition aren't aware when we're being impulsive in the moment. And what we think, we say. There is no filter between the thought and the actions. The thought pops into the brain and it falls out of the mouth. And there's nothing between the two. But the filter doesn't just affect what comes out. Our filter also affects what we let in. So others might filter out other stimuli like background noise or a t-shirt that's really itchy. Other people might be able to ignore that or to filter it out through their day so that it's not impacting on them or those around them. People with ADHD, we can't do that. We absorb all of the stimuli with our brains processing everything. It's like we're a sponge and we absorb it all. This alone can be overstimulating. But when you couple it with other traits of ADHD, it can leave us feeling incredibly overwhelmed and reacting in ways that are out of character for who we are inside. Over the years, as I've grown into an adult, I've developed a filter of sorts. The sort of filter that stops you from grabbing the perfect boob whilst you're in Tesco's, or that filter that stops you from taking a corner flat out in your car just to see what's going to happen. The intrusive thoughts. As an adult, I've developed ways of kind of being able to filter those. But how does my learned filter compare to that of a normal brain? When shit hits the fan for a normal person, they're still able to regulate their emotions, even when those emotions are running high. Your average person can continue to filter those intrusive thoughts. These normal people can continue to filter those intrusive thoughts, and they're not going to punch the guy, or they're not going to call somebody names. For me, however, and I know other people with ADHD have said the same, that there comes a point when I'm that emotionally dysregulated by the situation that's in front of me, that the filter that I've worked so hard to build and trust, in the heat of a moment, it just fucks right off, and it's as if it didn't exist, and all that hard work that you've put into managing situations that are overwhelming, that ability just goes. And you'll call the missus a cunt, you'll call the kids dicks, you might hit walls, or you might storm off. Or your mouth ends up on a hinge trying to over-explain a point, and you end up just rambling for 4 hours. And do you know what? That just fries the brains of everybody around you, your wife, your children, and yourself. In the heat of the moment, all humans are known for saying things that we didn't mean, when in the heat of it. But what I'm wanting to do I'm wanting to do these videos from the point of view of relationships, which is something that's quite personal to me. I'm a guy that's madly in love, who's made a great number of mistakes, and who will do anything it takes to repair to repair my family. And if I could give any advice to others living with a partner who has ADHD, it's to take what we say in the heat of it with a pinch of salt. A little bit like Tourette's. Sometimes we're just not simply capable of preventing what falls out of our mouths. And whilst that never takes away from the pain that we cause with our impulsivity and the lack of filter in the moment, just know that deep down we don't mean it. It's not something that we can necessarily control, and even as adults, that is incredibly difficult. But as you grow up, the consequences of not being able to filter these thoughts or these actions, those consequences go up and up and up. As you end up with a wife, or as you end up with a children, or a mortgage, or a job, etc., the consequences of that lack of filter massively increases. And I just want to put it out there to people that have got partners with ADHD. It'd be really interesting to hear from you as to what it's like living with somebody that's got ADHD.